And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thailand and welcome to TNT on a beautiful Saturday. In fact, it's just spectacular. Went for a walk around 6 o'clock this morning as the sun just peeping over the horizon. We've got a lake here in the middle of the particular area I live, and it was just a beautiful morning. So welcome to Thailand, welcome to TNT. It's really great to have you here. Just want to make sure everything is working because things sometimes don't work and we don't want that to happen. But look, let's just move on with the program, and I've got all your comments here. In fact, I've got quite a few questions which I thought I should get to before we do everything else. So hi to Reg, who started up front saying, Tim, are you following the taxi situation, following the green taxis from Bangkok coming to Phuket and taking businesses away from the regular mafia? Well, all I can say is many have tried, and we've had governments, we've had police, we've had the army come in. After the coup, they pretty much had unfettered control to do something about the taxi mafia. We even had a 3-year pandemic, which you thought may have moderated the situation, but no. Nothing has been able to penetrate the taxi mafia, which is so deeply entrenched. I don't really see it improving anytime soon. Now, such that even things like Bolt and Grab, you'll pay for the same fares when you use Bolt and Grab as you would if you use a regular taxi. So obviously those drivers and those businesses have been infiltrated. There's not much public transport here on the island of Phuket, forcing you to use taxis and tuk-tuks, and I'm sorry to say the experience is not as good as it should be. And now some people say, well, look, the airfares, the taxi fares are much the same price as they are in other parts of the world. Don't complain. Well, the problem is, though, that they're at least 3 or 4 times, really, the cost of a similar taxi ride in a place like Bangkok. We're in the same country, got the same cost of living. I don't know why things are different. It's just price gouging. So I'm sorry to say, as I've got Dina arriving, I've got Dusty at my feet, we might have a cat moment coming up. Now, I do have plenty of other things to talk about, and I've got all your questions to refer to, but I've got not so much a bad experience, but an unexpected experience with a long-term residency visa. There's one of the new visas available in Thailand now, so I'll go through that. We've also got Thailand voting in the UN yesterday in regards to that 1-year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. What else have I got? Public Health Minister saying that he says it's impossible to legalise e-cigarettes and vaping. So I'm going to get to his comments. I think you'll find some of them quite interesting or odd. And what else? We've also got a follow-up to a story I reported the other day about 3 bodies found in the boot or the trunk of a car in a pond down in southern Thailand, and another body found nearby. Exactly what the follow-up is to that. But I'll get to some more of your questions now, and hello to John Thug Life, Scott D. I'll get to your question in a moment. Matthew Durian, Todd Walsh, John Frene, Chicano says, why did I get this channel in my recommended list? Well, I'm here now, so I hope it's good. Well, I hope it's good too. And Dam1, hello, you're in Jomtiem today. Clive Baxter, Tim is feeding the cat. Hang on. Thug Life, Bill Ellis, Travelodium Travel Magazine says good morning, Tim. And good morning from Florida, Melbourne, Bangkok, Jomtiem. You can hire a motorcycle at your own risk. Excuse me, scratching my nose. Sitting here for an hour and talking continuously while trying to monitor your pictures is the most challenging thing I've ever done, but I do enjoy doing it live on Saturdays and Sundays. No guests today. My only guests are you. So welcome to my home, and grab yourself a glass or a cup or a mug of something that you're happy with. Sit down and let's all join together our little TNT family and see if we can make things better for life in Thailand, or maybe we can figure things out. Excuse me. Let's go to another one of these questions. Hopefully that helped with your reg. I don't see any taxis or any other changes coming to Phuket really are going to change things very much. Okay, Scott D asks an interesting question. Your news analysis contains a healthy dose of skepticism and realism. Yet, because you reside in Thailand, you have to wisely filter certain topics. And as I said, Scott, I'll probably have to filter my answer to an extent. But look, there is a broad freedom of press here in Thailand. Now, a lot of people think that Thailand doesn't have freedom of the press, but I've been to many news conferences. I've seen the way the Thai media both go to these conferences, the way they act and the way that they report. I would say most of the censorship comes from the English-speaking media and other foreign languages, the way they interpret it, so that they're not seen to be stepping on toes, because of course they've got visas to worry about and things like that. But the Thai media, they do report fairly broadly. Now, look, there are some no-go topics, but criticism of the government and the PM are fair go, and they often get canned in the Thai media. So it's an interesting question, but what do I filter? Look, when it comes to discussions about the royal family, we're circumspect, partly because it could get us in a lot of trouble, but probably more so because people really aren't, outside of Thailand, aren't particularly interested in what happens with the Thai royal family. So I think that would be for that one. When it comes to the government, look, I don't tend to criticise the government overly. I criticise sometimes the policies. I certainly report on the various policies. But, and look, some things happen in an odd way, and we want to try and make sure that people understand the difference between what is reported and what is actually happening. And that's, I think, where perhaps my perspective or my expertise may be able to help more often than not. So would I report it differently if I was out of Thailand? Yes, I would probably be much more outwardly and openly critical of some of the things the Thai government does. But then again, that's not really my shtick. I'm not here to change things. I'm a foreigner living here. I'm a guest in the country. So I'm not really here to use any leverage I have with my dedicated but small audience to change things. And neither can many of the people out there do anything either. I mean, I don't have a Thai listening audience. So yeah, I probably would report slightly differently, but maybe not as differently as you might think, Scott. Why is he so hell-bent on vaping? From Matthew Anderson. Yes, in our thumbnail today, I mentioned that the Public Health Minister says that he is not going to legalise vaping. He says it's impossible. Why am I talking about vaping? Because it's an issue for a lot of people. People either enjoy the habit or they're using it to kick smoking cigarettes or for whatever reason. And I do my best to try and make sure when you come here that you're not going to get yourself in trouble. And if you walk into the airport through customs sucking on a vape, you're going to get in a load of trouble before you even get to the immigration desk. So I'm doing my best to make sure that you understand what you can and can't do. And so that's why I'm reporting it. And at the moment, it's a hot topic. I'm going to cough. Excuse me, you had to see all that. The problem, just talking for an hour. So, yeah, it's my job to try and make sure you have a good, safe and enjoyable time here and know the ins and outs of what you can and can't do as best I can. So because of that, the roadblock, the checkpoint and the policeman and the extortion of the Thai, what would you describe her? She was a Taiwanese influencer. And she got in trouble, and then she got those Thai policemen in a lot of trouble. And so it became a big hot topic, and it's now become a political football. We're now basically in a de facto election campaign, and vaping and cannabis use will be hot topics in this election. So hopefully I'm just moving down here. Leave any early questions. The price of international flights are more than ridiculous. I, like others, have loved ones abroad. Says John, and yeah, I mentioned yesterday in one of those sort of YouTube shorts that the cost of local flights has really doubled, tripled in some cases in recent weeks. We might be entering an era where we're not going to see these cheap airfares anymore, maybe for years. Maybe there was a time in the early 2000s where flights were just as low as they're ever going to go, and maybe we're not going to return to that. Well, anytime soon anyway. So if you're waiting for flights to come down in price next month, and maybe they won't, next year, perhaps they won't. Rising fuel costs, staff shortages, supply chain problems for airlines getting spare parts. I think all these are contributing to perhaps an extended time of high airfares, not only here in Thailand, but around the world. Be interested in your comments, everybody. Scott D, again, another question. And Scott D does it right because he writes the word question in front of his question, so it's easy to find. With many Thai-related YouTube channels showing the wonders of Thailand, will Thailand eventually become too expensive and increasingly difficult to retire to? Well, Thailand has been in the top 10 places to visit for the past 10 to 15 years. And I think it sort of hit a peak, well, a recent peak back in 2019 when there were some 40 million people coming through the turnstiles at immigration queues around Thailand. And I think that peak is going to take a long time to get back to that. So at the moment, there aren't as many people coming to Thailand, despite the fact that YouTube obviously is becoming more popular, and that's rising in popularity, but the number of tourists is down from what it was. And I don't think people would use just YouTube as a way to attract them to Thailand, although it's an indispensable source of information these days. Hopefully I'm a tiny bit of that and doing something useful. To add to that, Shi Kano says, cost of flights from Tokyo to Bangkok direct around 58,000 yen. That's just over $420. So not bad. Look, I'm sure there are still some discount fares you can find, but obviously you need to book ahead to get those. I think I noticed that Hong Kong via Cathay Airways was distributing some 50,000 free airfares. But you're not going to have a lot of control over exactly when you're going to fly. I can't remember the details on that, although I had a quick look yesterday. But that's the sort of thing that some countries will do to attract people back to their shores. Thailand's really not doing much to attract people other than the extended visa waiver from 30 days to 45 days. I'll talk more about that in a moment. I get so many questions about that every day. So, Hong Kong being proactive and paying people to come, understanding that they'll spend a lot of money once they get to the country. So, Thailand hasn't done much to really make itself more available to foreigners at the moment. There's no subsidies for airfares. They're just expecting people are just going to magically turn up again. So let's just see what else we've got. Talking about those 45-day visa on, it's not visa on arrival, it's a visa exemption. 64 countries around the world have got a visa exemption when they can enter Thailand, and they can get an automatic stamp to allow them to stay for 45 days. It used to be 30 days before October last year. This is called the visa exemption or the visa waiver. Now there's another set of countries which have to do a visa on arrival, so they've got to apply for and then get a visa stamp, and they have to pay for that before they come into Thailand. They can pay for it before they get here, but as usual, most online visa services don't work terribly well, so they do that when they arrive at the airport before they then head to immigration. So visa on arrival has been extended from 15 to 30 days, and the visa exemption has been extended from 30 to 45 days. And with most countries, Russia is one country that you can't, for example. You can then get a 30-day extension beyond that 45 days, but you have to take a trip down to a Thai immigration office, take a passport photo, fill out the forms, and pay 1,900 baht. So you get 45 plus 30 days, most Western countries. Then you can leave the country and you can do all that again. You can come back and do 45 days plus 30. You could do that going through a land border. But it's not quite as black and white as that. Currently, the government say they're only going to allow people to do that twice in a calendar year. But some people are saying they've gone across the land border 3 or 4 times and nobody's batted an eyelid, and they're just going to think they're going to keep on doing it. But it just depends on the immigration officer. It depends on the day. Depends if they had a good sleep overnight. Depends if you sort of wink and nudge and flutter your eyelids at the immigration officer. I don't know. But nothing is black and white in Thailand. It's probably all those shades of grey that make us love it so much or infuriate us from time to time. But that's pretty much the outline. Now, that extension of the visa waiver from 30 to 45 days and visa on arrival from 15 to 30 days is going to finish on the 31st of March. Now, there's a proposal from the Tourism Minister to extend that to the end of the year, but nothing has been decided, nothing has been announced, so as of right now, all I can say is that the 30 to 45 day extension of the visa waiver is probably going to finish on the 31st of March. I can't give you any more hope than that, although I expect that they'll probably extend it, but currently it's due to finish on the 31st of March. Cosmo says, yeah, international travel is expensive. Bought a ticket today, €950. So coming from Europe somewhere, you haven't told us where, to Thailand. Lee Shepherd, good morning everybody. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. So am I. This is sort of my way of relaxing with all my friends online. Ben Hayes says, Scott D, Thailand can be expensive for foreigners who can't speak Thai. Interesting perspective, Ben. Depending where you are, yes, if you can't speak Thai, some Thais will perhaps take advantage of you. You're sort of giving yourself away as a non-local, apart from the way that you may look, but the way you behave, and if you can speak Thai, I think you are looked on more fondly by some people. Interesting perspective. Just realised I'm subscribed, says Chai Kano. I hope I'm saying it properly. Thug Life, glad we've got 2 live streams on the weekend. Oh, thank you very much. You're doing this on Saturdays and Sundays now, doing TNT 7 days a week, just because I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to grow the subscribers, and the best way to do that is just do more content, and heaven knows there's plenty of content to cover. New floor mat in front of the plants. No, that's been there for quite a while. I just move it around from time to time. I have got some new floor mats, but they're gone upstairs where the Airbnb is going to be. Good morning from David in Sakon Nakhon. Nice part of the world. Thank you very much, David. Who remembers, says Dam1, or asks Dam1, when the Germans used to place their towels on all the sunbeds at 7 a.m. in the morning? Well, the Russians are doing it now at 6 a.m. Dam1 up on Jomtien Beach in Pattaya. So thank you very much for that. Yes, there's a limited number of sunbeds in most locations, and so if it's busy, yes, people will go out and try and do their best to reserve a sunbed. You could probably sling an odd 100 to the vendor, and I'm sure they'd do it for you. Good morning from Bangkok on the way home, says Noel Smith. David Hansen, good morning from Florida. Let's get to one of these issues I wanted to cover, and this is from Christopher Cooper, who had a bit of a bad experience whilst he was trying to get his long-term residency visa. Long-term, yeah, it basically allows you to work in the country for up to 10 years. Well, it's really 5 plus 5, but it works out as a sort of a 10-year long-term residency visa. But it's quite a long story from Christopher. It was published in Expats in Thailand, and let's just wade through it as best we can. I've got to press that button, then I've got to press that button. How does that work? There we go. I hope you can see it now. So Christopher says, and just follow me as we go through this, happy to say I got my 10-year LTR visa today, but things did not go as planned. They advertise all the benefits here in the graphic, and we'll go to that graphic a little bit later. After 3 months of gathering paperwork and submitting, I finally got notification of approval and to go and collect. Went today and arrived in dress shorts. Rookie mistake. Had to go to the mall and buy a pair of pants. I love that word, pants. I think you would be going to the BOI office, the Board of Investment, so it looks like you need to wear a pair of trousers to get in. Paid the 50,000 baht fee, got the 10-year stamp in my passport, then asked how I get the digital work permit to work in Thailand, and they said, "My day, I cannot. I'm not eligible." I explained I intend to work here to take advantage of the other advertised benefit of the 17% income tax. They apologised and explained that only applies if you work for a Thai entity, like a Thai company. I explained my company does have a Thai branch. It was declared on my forms in 2 places, and I intend to work for that entity while residing in Thailand, enabling me to take advantage of the 17% tax offered. They then said they processed me as a work from Thailand professional remote worker, which I have been, but to now transfer to work under my Thai company as, sorry, I've lost my place here, which I have been, but to now transfer to work under my Thai company as I declared within the same 10-year LTR visa offer, I'd have to start the process again and reapply. Are you keeping up with me? Because this is quite an important story. I asked if I could get my 50,000 baht back, which I'd paid just 10 minutes before, and they said, "My day." Staff were as polite and apologetic as they could be, as everyone seems uncertain about these things, but I left with a 10-year stamp, but my head hanging low that I have to go through the whole thing again and pay all over again another 50,000 baht. The visa is so new that even staff are still figuring out how it works. They even said only 2 banks now recognise the visa, SEB and the GSB banks. I think that's the purple bank and the pink bank. So can only really set up an account with them until others are on board. Just a warning for those going for this same visa. So interesting story there. Thank you very much, Christopher. I didn't actually ask him if I could read out that particular story, but it was published in Expats in Thailand on a Facebook page. So problems there for people applying for these long-term residency visas. You need to ask a lot of questions, I think, before you actually pay over that 50,000 baht. So perhaps an informal meeting with one of the officials with a whole long list of questions would have perhaps circumvented that particular issue for you, Christopher. Sad to hear that you're going to have to perhaps reapply all over again. But it has pretty much fit into an ongoing narrative that I've been hearing quite a lot about anecdotally and personally over the past few months. I had problems getting a new visa. I mean, I left a company last year, and I've had to get a new visa. I went to Penang. It was denied, even though I had all the paperwork ready and all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted. But no, they're only processing 50 a day. And they decided, and they wouldn't tell me why, that that visa was refused. I've then been applying for another visa, but that has taken, actually I got it 2 days ago. Yay! But it's taken 2 months to process. Visa agents are having a lot of problems at the moment, and so are individuals getting new visas, not renewals. Renewals don't appear to be a problem. But for people who are applying for a new visa, it appears at the moment that it's more difficult to get than the past. And it looks like these long-term resident visas, these 10-year visas for professionals, have got their own quirks that you probably need to ask a lot of questions for. Otherwise, like Christopher, you might find you end up with the wrong visa and having to reapply. And that means another 50,000 baht, which is not a small amount of money. So yeah, just be aware that if you are applying for a new visa at the moment, coming into Thailand for a long-term stay, could be a retirement visa, could be a B visa, could be a marriage visa, a spouse visa, could be any visa that allows you to stay beyond the usual terms of a tourist visa. And if you're thinking about a volunteer visa or an education visa, I'd basically forget that at the moment. My intel is showing me that they're issuing very, very few of those, and they're really checking very deeply into the institutions that are issuing the letters so you can get them. So just be aware that it may not be as easy to get some of these long-term visas than it has been in the past. AS says, how soon do you think weed in Thailand will be illegal again? Well, okay. Now, I've covered this story from day one, from June the 9th last year, when cannabis was taken off a list of illicit drugs, category 5 illicit drugs. And I was suspect about it at the time, and I've remained so and proven to be pretty much right, that it's basically just been a political football that's caused a lot of people quite a lot of pain, especially those people who are investing in not only growing these crops, but also going into retail. And then we've got the foreigners coming thinking that they can just walk around with a fat joint hanging out of their mouth, and they get picked up by the police and wonder why. So a lot of assumptions have been made by a lot of people about what they can and can't do with cannabis, but it's becoming quite clear that the politics are outweighing the desire of people to have cannabis decriminalised completely here in Thailand. My best bet, what was your name, AS, is that after the next election a new cannabis bill will be put up. The last cannabis bill has been thrown out of Parliament 5 times now. It's not garnered enough votes, not nearly enough votes. It's not even been close. And so we've got a situation where a new government's going to come to power. That new government, I think, will be weighted in favour of the opposition, and they've already said that they're not going to legalise or decriminalise recreational use of marijuana. That's never going to happen, they say. So I think we'll find that cannabis will be decriminalised, and that medicinal use will be will be legalised, but recreational use will be outright forbidden, pretty much as it was before. That's the way that I see it happening. Now, either by good skills or luck, I've been pretty right so far. So let's see what happens. But look, that's my best guess, and I'm sure a lot of people out there will think I'm an idiot. They do anyway. But that's my best guess on what I think is going to happen. Bonjour, y'all, says Bill Ellis. AS, I think I've done that. Let's go. Scott D says, Nick had military and then travel commitments, but will eventually be back on the weekends until he goes abroad to college. I'm sorry I missed the thread there. I've missed quite a lot of the discussion. I'm sorry. Question from Ron, is Nick coming back to the show? I think Nick, and he and his father are up in Taiwan and Shenzhen in China at the moment, sourcing out some items that they're going to be selling. Nick's quite well, he's only 18, he's very entrepreneurial. And so they're up there sourcing some items. I think he might be back next week. He's very welcome when he has time to sit and help me with this program, going through all the questions. So yeah, hopefully Nick will come back. But in the meantime, we're probably going to have a few other faces. Last week we had Brendan and Sue. Today you just got me. Jet was coming on the program today. He was actually staying here for the past few days. This is Jet Gunther, who used to work for me in a past business and a past company, and he's really doing well with his new YouTube channel, and I hope to be working with Jet more often. He's a fine gentleman, and we had a few laughs over the past few days, but he is acting as a groomsman for a friend who's getting married, and they had a night in Bangla Road last night, so Jet's not here this morning. I think that's understandable. Some work party for them, 50,000 baht. Again, I'm sort of lost the thread of what people are talking about here. Let's find any other questions. I'm looking for Easter from Europe, says Chris Macon. Cheapest from first in business. Okay, talking about very expensive airfares. Okay. Where's the beef? Asks Todd Walsh. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Scam after scam after scam after scam, says Kino Shinobi, ashamed of my country, RIP Thailand. Look, I think the scams have always been there. It's just we get to hear a lot more about them because people have got a mobile phone and they just turn it on and start taking photos and shooting video. And of course, then they upload that video and they discuss it endlessly on social media. So I think the scams have already been there. We're just hearing a lot more about them, and it appears that there are more scams. I don't think there are. I mean, as I said, I've been living here for 12 years. I haven't actually been caught in any scams. Have done my homework, had to pay over a little bit of money from time to time in a few traffic accidents. I wouldn't call that a scam. I'd just call that assisting my freedom. Moral of the story, says Chicano, wait till all the rough bits have been ironed out before you apply for new visas. These new visas have been around since September last year. So I'm not sure why he had the problem or why the staff didn't go out of their way to explain all the ins and outs. And I'm hoping, excuse me, that Christopher is just a bit of a blip on the radar, that not everybody is having these problems. But I did read that and I could see why that mistake was made. Hopefully Chris can be publishing something a bit more positive in soon. But he did say they were very polite and apologetic, but they were basically caught with that money being paid. They couldn't do much about it. I think I probably would have done something about it. Travelodium, travel magazine, Rak's view, because the price has nothing to do with cost, just about the capacity to pay. Price will rise until the time the number of tickets sold stagnate. Again, I'm sorry, I just lost something about Phuket. Good morning from Phuket, says D.S. Berg. A lot of people talking. I'm sorry I'm not keeping up with the conversations. Hello, sir, says Thai Bob. Have you heard anything on 15-day extension with the 30-day visa on arrival for a total of 45-day stay for US tourists? I think I addressed that earlier, Thai Bob. But at the moment, the 45-day visa exemption will probably finish on the 31st of March unless it's extended. It's been proposed by the Tourism Minister to extend that visa on arrival up to the end of the year. Not you can stay until the end of the year, but the 30 to 45 day extension, my bet, as I said, is that they probably will, but at the moment it's going to go back to 30 days visa exemption after the 31st of March, as far as I know. Class of 58, who will be the next Prime Minister and how will it affect life in Thailand? Okay, well, there's probably a half-hour answer and a 2-minute answer. I'll give you the 2-minute one. The party that's going to win the most number of votes in the next election is Pattaya. That is a lay-down misère. There's nothing sure about that. So let's just sort of dissect that. At the moment, the Pattaya party is probably going to nominate Thaksin Shinawatra, former Prime Minister, current fugitive, his youngest daughter, Pattongtarn, to be the Prime Ministerial candidate. Now, something I found out in the past 24 hours that I didn't know, and she's currently 10 months pregnant, which would mean that basically on the election date, she's going to be in a hospital having a baby. Would be a grandchild for Thaksin Shinawatra. So, yesterday, Thaksin Shinawatra announced that there are going to be up to three Prime Ministerial candidates standing for Pattaya. Now, the thing about Pattongtarn Shinawatra, she's just got that name. For some people in Thailand, that's a magic name. For other people in Thailand, that's a name they want to avoid. And certainly one that would attract the attention of the army. So it might be better for Thailand to have a non-Shinawatra if it wants to look at some sort of stable government in the future, and the army perhaps keeping their nose out of things for a little bit longer. But yeah, interesting that Pattaya will certainly win the election of the highest number of votes. It won't get more than 50% of the votes, and it will have to form a coalition with probably Move Forward. And then you've got the stacked Senate, 250 members who are handpicked by the Prime Minister and the army. They're just army mates of the Thai Prime Minister. And so you could end up with Pattaya leading the government, but with a very conservative Prime Minister. Could be Prayut Chan-o-cha or Prawit Wongsuwon. Would be very interesting. That would be very unstable, and I think we'd have to have another election within 12 months because you couldn't have an extremely conservative Prime Minister and a progressive, I think progressive is the best word for them, a party in government with a coalition of other progressive parties. hopefully that's my best answer on that. 426 people. How many people have we got? I can't really see the numbers, but thank you very much, Pad Thai. Really grateful to have you all with us. Let's go to another question today, and this is just a story that was in a new publication. Oh, hang on, I can't do that. I've got to do this, and then I've got to press that. And this is from a new publication called Bangkok One News, and they reported yesterday that Thailand votes for peace in Europe. By the way, I've got nothing to do with Bangkok One News. Don't know anybody behind it. So Thailand joined 140 other UN members to vote for peace in Ukraine, given it's the 1-year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. However, 7 countries, Belarus, North Korea, of course, Eritrea, Mali, Nicaragua, Russia, surprise, surprise, and Syria opposed the resolution, and then 32 countries, including China, India, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Vietnam, and Laos, chose to abstain in that particular vote, but the vote was passed nonetheless. So I thought that might be of interest. Here's another 2 interesting comments on that. The resolution urged members and international organisations to step up efforts to combat war crimes, but it did not address how peace may be achieved specifically. There's probably 2 people that really need to sit in the same room, nut things out. That's the only way I think we're going to get some sort of peace. The Assembly's support for Ukraine's sovereignty, independence, unity, and territorial integrity, including its territorial waters, was also reiterated in the resolution. So I thought that was an important thing. Thailand putting its name on the list of countries supporting peace and supporting Russia getting out of Ukraine. So that didn't happen initially a year ago. So Thailand now firmly on the side of supporting Ukraine and a peaceful resolution to that conflict. Hello, sir. Have you thought? I've done that one. What else we got? Let's go. Question from Frank Weston. Hello, Frank. Good to have you on the stream. The Thai Love Thai Party says if they get into government, they would insist that all foreign residents taking an interrogation test? Interrogation, or do you mean interrogation? Well, firstly, Thai Love Thai Party is not going to get elected. They may be part of a coalition, but I can't say I know anybody out of Thai Love Thai Party. That might just be a populist sort of thing to get those xenophobic Thais to vote for them. I don't think there's going to be any major changes. As I said, the only change I've really noticed over the past 10 years, it's just been a little bit tougher to get some of these visas, and they're actually just checking, crossing the T's and dotting the I's a bit more than they used to in the past. So, yeah, Frank, I don't think that's going to happen. In interrogation test, what are they going to do? Interrogate you? No, I think that's extremely doubtful, but something that would make a headline and something that would probably attract a few Thai voters. China can play a huge role in peace talks, mostly because Putin might listen to them, says Frank in Thailand. Don't really want to get into the specifics of Russia and Ukraine. We basically focus on what's happening here in Thailand. I only read that out because Thailand has now officially sort of changed from abstaining to vote, now voting with Ukraine against Russia. Ian McNamee, Chris Roberts, yeah, I don't like dealing with immigration as it can be done for you. He said integration. Okay, sorry. I don't think that's how you spell integration. Anyway, so learning Thai language or knowing something about Thai history. Yeah, look, it's not going to happen. If so, I'm very good with my Thai history, but my Thai language is appalling. So I'd probably be in their favour, but I'd have to talk to them through an interpreter. So that's an interesting question. Thank you very much. Frank Weston, question, how are the Russians doing in Thailand? Loved, loathed, or just tolerated because they spend mega bucks? They do spend mega bucks, and there's no doubt about that. And I'm seeing lots of evidence of that. A lot of people talking to me about the very wealthy Russians who are basically settling down for a new life here in Thailand. So, look, I mean, they are loved, loathed, and tolerated. They're all those things, like people coming in from other countries. The Thais, it comes down to individuals, doesn't it? But at the moment, Russian people are welcome to come to Thailand. There's some 4,000 or 5,000 Russian people arriving in Phuket, the island of Phuket, every day. So most of them, of course, are leaving a few weeks later, but some of them are deciding to stay here, and they're just throwing cash on the table to get visas and to reserve villas for up to a year, pushing up a lot of prices. Nongwasu, YouTube has blocked your questions, so I'm not sure. Ian McNamee, Elite Tim. Are you talking about me, or do you want me to talk about the Elite visa? Pat Thai, when will Kun Tim, unless I missed it, pay tribute to our beloved Burt Bacharach? Keyboard's in there. I've got it working. I intended to do something about a tribute for Burt Bacharach. I promise I won't sing, but I did want to pay tribute to him because I do still love his music, and he sort of wrote the pop soundtrack in many ways in the 60s and 70s. So I will try and do something. I'm just really, really busy at the moment, I'm sorry to say. It's a little out of focus, Tim, says Brian Hay. I can't really do much about that. It's on auto. I don't know if I sort of put my hand out there and see if it's going to focus better, but I'm sorry if it is out of focus. Maybe I look better out of focus anyway. But just squint your eyes. It's all auto. There's nothing I can actually twiddle or do anything about. Scrolling down before we get on to our next issue. Pat Tai, when is Kun Tim's birthday? It was last Monday. I turned 64, and I'm fit and well, despite this slightly croaky throat this morning. And I did nothing for my birthday. Sue, she brought me some chocolate muffins and a lovely gift as well, but no, I don't really celebrate birthdays these days. The focus is excellent here, says the insult, says Andrew. Somebody peeping through your window, Tim. I don't think so. No one's peeping through my window. Make the keyboard action in a short... please. Oh, right. Yes. Yes. Well, you don't have to watch it. If I do a tribute, I'll basically be playing the piano and talking about some of his life and his songs. I won't be singing. Happy belated birthday. Thank you very much, Pad Thai. Wishing you a very... No, you don't have to wish me happy birthday. Wait till next year and get it on the day. Then that's okay. The Insult Investor asks a question. What's going on now with all the weed shops? Are they closing? I think there is now some sort of stability coming into the into that particular market, and the mad growth that we had, say, during November and December has certainly settled down, and some of those shops will inevitably close just through competition. Noticed that last week there were a couple of shops raided by police, didn't have the proper paperwork. I think police are now trying to make their presence known in the particular issues, on that particular issue, so it doesn't get out of hand. But at the moment, they don't have any proper laws to act on, other than the small number of laws that have been passed by the Public Health Ministry to control the situation. But I think they're in as difficult a situation as everybody else, because nothing is clear, because the Cannabis bill has not been passed. Another question from Frank. The cats are sorely missed. Where is the cats? They were here, but they've gone. I turned 68 on February the 21st in Lisbon. I also play the piano, but not very well. Same with me, not very well. My piano is more of an ornament these days. I've got an electric one. It wasn't working a few weeks ago. It is now. Joe says, I was in Pattaya last week. Business is booming. Yes, and you'd say the same if you go to Patong in Phuket. Very, very busy. But you go to other parts of Phuket and you go a few streets back in Pattaya, you'll notice things are still quiet. Shops still closed, hotels still closed, but some of the hot spots are certainly very busy, and that applies to Bangkok as well. There's a new weed place here in Krabi Town that allows teens to go mix drugs and smoke. I was not impressed. Again, I think these are some of the unexpected situations. Oh my goodness, I've got a few people I need to thank. Khalid, thank you very, very much. And that's a very, very kind thought and generous indeed. And thank you to Ken for 1,000 Thai baht. Thank you very, very much, Ken, saying happy belated birthday. I can buy a few coffees with that. Thank you very much, Ken, and thank you very much to Khalid. Much appreciated. Don't the Beatles have a song When I'm 64? Yes, they do, Ian. I don't need reminding. Everybody's told me that during the week. Foxy info, Tim. My friend arrived in Thailand airport BKK, that's Suvarnabhumi, had a return ticket for 2 months and was told, as it was over 45 days, he needed a tourist visa. What sort of visa did he have in the... Oh, he should have applied for a tourist visa. You can get a 90-day pre-applied tourist visa in your home country before you come. Well, I think they probably would have stamped him in 45 days anyway. I'm sure, Foxy, they would have allowed him to come. I mean, as long as he didn't have any priors, he would have been given a 45-day stamp. I'm sure that would be the case. Again, it just depends on the immigration officer. It depends on the time of the day. Things are never black and white in Thailand. If that's the best advice I can ever give you, there are things that are written down and there are things that happen, and then there's the truth somewhere between the two. You just really got to just keep a... In Thailand, you'd call it a sort of a sabai attitude. Just don't get too upset. Things sometimes will happen that you don't expect, and you've just sort of got to go with the flow. And that's probably the best lesson I've learned here in 12 years in Thailand, is just don't let all the little things annoy you, because they can if you let them. Tim, we're almost twins. I was 64 on the 14th. Robbo in the Bay. I hope we're not twins. If you look anything like me, that'd be very sad. My Pen Rai approach, says Kino. You're right. Question from Frank. Frank, a lot of questions. When do you think Thailand will reach 39.8 million tourists in Bangkok? Oh, 39.8. 5 years, 10 years, never. Okay, so back in 2019, the last full year of tourism before the COVID pandemic, Thailand, not just Bangkok, but Thailand recorded 39.6 million foreign arrivals. For Bangkok to get that number of arrivals, I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime. That's a lot of people just going to Bangkok, remembering that a lot of people arrive in Utapao, Chiang Mai, other international airports, Phuket, of course, and a lot of people coming across the border from, say, Malaysia or places like Cambodia as well. I just don't think that's going to happen. As far as Thailand getting back to where it was in 2019, I said quite a few times that I thought it might take up to 10 years. See if I'm right. People told me I'm absolutely insane. I think it will probably take longer than people think. There's a lot of other things happening internationally that are affecting people coming to Thailand or anywhere else for that matter. And I think that situation is going to continue for the foreseeable future. So the number of tourists, I think, will be down in a lot of parts of the world. Whilst the airfares remain high, flights remain more scarce, and people just don't have the spending power that they did, say, 3 or 4 years ago. Let's see what happens. Which movie do you think will win the Best Picture award at the Oscars, Tim? Says Ishnam Munshi. Sure, I've got to be careful how I say that one. Something All Quiet on the Western Front, or it wasn't something about war in Europe anyway. I think that's going to win the award. It's a German language movie. And I think Best Actor will go to Austin Butler from Elvis. He's been nominated, and I think his performance was outstanding. And even though it's a very early Oscar entry from July last year, and there's been a lot of really good performances, including Brendan Fraser coming out lately in The Whale, I think I'm hoping that Austin Butler wins the Oscar because I think he really did a magnificent performance. I might talk more about that when we're closer to the Oscars. I do like my films, and when I watch the TV over there, it's usually watching films. Okay, so I might do a few more comments. That haircut is called Mudguard. Thank you. Me, are you talking about? Comment from Ken RQ. I've applied the Sabai Sabai method ever since I arrived in Thailand to live last August. It served me well with interacting with the immigration department, local utilities, banks and businesses. Yes, if you expect the same sort of, I don't want to use the word efficiency, but basically the sort of the black and white approach. This is how you do things, and it all sort of happens the way you think it's going to happen. That's not what you're going to find often in Thailand. And you just need to just take things a step at a time, understand that some things may not go the way you want, and there will be some Thais that are just annoyed that you can't speak Thai, and will just diss you because you can't and make it just a little bit more difficult. Just chill out. Chill out if you come to Thailand. I used to be, I think, very much an alpha type personality, and I've really calmed down a lot because of Thailand. It's taught me the lesson of just a bit more inner peace is much better for you than anything else. Hope everyone has... Khalid, another 50. QAR. Khalid, what's QAR? So it's a QAR. Is it? It's not South African Rand. Is it a Qatar currency? Khalid, you might have to tell me, but thank you very much for 50 of them. I'm very, very grateful, and thank you for your support of the channel. How can Tim keep so slim? Well, I'm not that slim. I'm about 74 kilos. I'd probably like to be more about 70 kilos. I'm 5'7", 173 centimeters. So I'm a little bit more padding than I used to have, but I'm certainly not slim. Not as slim as I'd like to be, but this year I am looking to try and drop a few kilos. Health is on my mind. Physical health, mental health, keeping chilled and enjoying life whilst also keeping busy. They're the sort of things I've got on my plate this year. Antoine, how do you explain there are not so many Chinese people coming to Thailand? Well, China's just only recently opened its borders, and I think the Chinese people, like a lot of other people in the world, are sort of having a few more problems scraping together disposable income to do things like travel. Tours were only allowed to start again from February the 8th, and there haven't been many Chinese tours, and there's also not many flights out of China at the moment. But I'm pretty sure as this year goes, we'll see more Chinese returning to Thailand. Whether they'll come back in the same numbers they used to, I think that again is a number of years away. And for people warming up their tills in their hotels, assuming the Chinese are just going to flood back anytime soon, I think it's just going to be a slow road to recovery. Not just in Thailand, but around the world. But the Chinese do love Thailand. There's no doubt about it. It's a much shorter flight for the Chinese than going to other places. So we will see the Chinese return to Thailand. There is no doubt. But it's not going to happen immediately. And sadly, not in the numbers that a lot of people expect. QD, Jeff Linton, you're the kind of guy... Live chat, slacking on them likes. Let's go, fam. Okay. Scrolling down. Oh, gee. 50 US dollars from Eileen. My goodness. Eileen, thank you very, very much. Oh, my God. If you feel inclined, please ask me a question or make me work for my money. I mean, that's very kind. Foxy, £10. Foxy, assuming you're from the UK, but thank you very, very much. I'm assuming these are sort of birthday presents and much appreciated. And Wayne Baston, $20 from Australia. Hey, Tim, thanks for all the advice and information. Hope to be living in Thailand within the next 12 months. This is the thing. I mean, the people that have retired in Thailand are not the only people that are going to be retiring in the future. There are people reaching the age of 50. There are people who have decided they want to move over the past couple of years. It's a whole new batch of people coming to retire in Thailand. If I might just take a moment to just mention, and I mentioned this in yesterday's program, but one thing that you need to do if you are going to retire in Thailand is just don't think that all you need is a condo and a visa. You need to have something to do. You need to have a plan of making new friends. You need to be active in maintaining social contact with your past friends and with your new friends. You need to be quite active about that part of your life, because people aren't going to come to you. You're going to have to go to them. There are plenty of expat communities and clubs, and all the information really is sitting on the internet. You just really need to spend a bit of time finding out the things that you can do. Also, travel around a bit. Travel around your own community. Maybe hire a bike, learn to ride a bike, get a motorbike license, of course, or own a car, whatever it is that floats your boat, and get out. Don't just stay in your own house and go to the same 3 cafes and 3 bars every day. Just move around a bit. Keep your mind active. Don't just sort of look at retirement as a brick wall that you hit and then stop. It's really just something that you climb over and then continue on with the rest of your life. I mean, I'm sort of at retirement age and I've never been busier in my life. I can also say I've never been happier, and I'm looking forward to the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I hope I can keep on doing this for a lot longer. But be aware of trying to maintain good physical health and good mental health, because both those issues will certainly see a much happier retirement in the future. And I'm certainly going to concentrate on these issues in the future, because I sort of see that it's my job to try and keep the expat community informed and also try and add some additional services. I mean, wouldn't it be great if in the next couple of months we had a service where people could pick up a phone and speak to somebody in 3 or 4 foreign languages and discuss their mental health issues and challenges? That service doesn't really exist at the moment. We're certainly looking at trying to establish something like that. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're certainly trying to provide some much better mental health services for expats in the future. Dave B, $5 from Australia. Which part of Australia are you from, Dave? Thank you very much. That's very kind. I'm always so surprised. Pattaya. Keep watching Kun Tim's daily program. Thank you very much. I think people sort of know about that. MT Sutpin. Thanks for addressing mental health issues with expats. I suppose I'm talking about this because I've seen the impact as I move around Thailand of some people who just get themselves in a bit of a rut. Sometimes they have a bad business arrangement, problems with a Thai partner, they end up losing their money for whatever, and they've cut their ties with their family, or they don't have any family to return to in their home country, and they end up quite lonely and desperate, stuck here in Thailand. And these people, we need to notice them, we need to recognise them, and don't just push them away. We need to do what we can to try and understand their issues and try and get together and provide some services to give them a future. I mean, there's no welfare system in Thailand for these expats, so I think this is something that we do need to look at. And I am actively trying to bring something together so people can, if nothing else, jump on a phone or jump on a Facebook call or whatever your preferred social media video connection is and talk to somebody and get some proper assistance. Scrolling down, another dollar from Dave B. Thanks very much. Just topping it up. Much appreciated. And look, I thank you to all those people who donate. I mean, it's not required. It's not solicited. Of course, it's appreciated when it happens. John Franey, hospitals can be very expensive here in Thailand. Everyone should hope for the best, but expect the worst. Have insurance and plenty of patience. Yeah, I mean, if you are going to live here, even if you visit here, make sure you've got insurance, because the mistakes you can make can be very expensive mistakes. If you are retiring here, of course, you simply have to have good health insurance. It's an absolute must. Unless you're working here and you get the free universal healthcare in Thailand, then you need your own health insurance. That's your responsibility, and there's plenty of very good insurance brokers that will go through the options with you to find something at your price point. Kino Shinobi says, I have depression and I go skating every day in the evening. It helps a lot. Fantastic. I think, if you suffer from depression and you've had some good advice and maybe you're on some sort of medication, just make sure you keep on top of that and go and see your doctor regularly, update your medication, maybe in the future look at getting off the medication if that's possible, and keeping a good diet and, as you say, some exercise. Doing some sort of exercise every day are some of the best things you can do just to help clear the mind and cope with the things that might be bothering you when you're having those quiet moments. Kelly, what's the news about Thai government extending the visa exemption past? I've addressed this 3 times. Kelly, at the moment, the visa exemption extension is going to end on the 31st of March. There's a proposal for it to go through until the end of the year, but that has not been passed. I haven't even seen it discussed in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It will be discussed, I'm sure, whether it's going to be a tick or a cross, but at the moment, the visa exemption extension won't go past the 31st of March. And we'll do a couple more questions before we finish today. I didn't get through all the stories I hoped to very quickly. And thank you very much from MT Sapin. $4. No, well, let's say $5. Thank you very much, and deeply appreciated. I sincerely appreciate all these very kind people. But everybody is welcome. I mean, everybody. There's no price barrier to join in with anything we do on TNT. We don't have memberships. I want you all to be welcome. I want you all to be able to join in the program. On Monday the 27th, says Billy Burry Baps. He's lived here for 16 years in the same soy, still integrating. Yeah, I think the longer we live here, the less we really understand about the place. It's a deep and complex culture. There's a lot more to it than we think. I mean, if we sort of look at Thailand superficially, it can be quite complicated. But the more you learn, the more you do appreciate it. And I think it's a lifelong investigation into a very interesting culture. Thanks, Billy Burry Baps, and congratulations on your 16th. I get to my 12th year on March the 24th this year. Frank has got another question. Hey, Tim, when is that little fellow from the Russian agency coming back on the show? That little man was very informative and entertaining too. That little man, his name is Ivan. I'll see if Ivan is available. I might even try and get him tomorrow. He doesn't live too far away from here. He runs a real estate agency here. He is making a fortune at the moment. He's told me some numbers the last few days. I can't share them with you, but he's doing very, very well. There is just a lack of stock of real estate here in, certainly Phuket. Surfing, skating, fresh air is the best medicine, says Kino. Agreed, and good luck to you. And please keep on viewing the program. We hope we can bring you some information and a few smiles from time to time. Mr. Fat says, P-H-A-T that is, a question for when Ivan is back on. Who are these Russians who are moving there? What do they do? Jobs, etc. I think this change will be more permanent than is expected. I think you're right. A lot of these people are going to Tesco and they're shopping for pillowcases and frying pans. They're moving in. And I think it's quite a different dynamic, and something that I don't think the Thai Immigration Department or the government have got their head around yet, that a lot of these Russians are coming to stay, and the elite visa people have never been busier. The 5, 10 and 20 year visas to live in Thailand are flying out the door. And as you know, they're not particularly cheap. They start at 600,000 baht for 5 years. Have I got a book here I was going to show you? Here. This is a book I love and I refer to from time to time. It's called Fake Tan, and it's sort of written, it's all about Thailand and Vietnam, I suppose, and Southeast Asian culture, but it's very, very funny, and it says a lot of things they couldn't say if they were talking about a reality, sort of a lonely planet guidebook. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's even available, but it's called Fake Tan. Very, very funny book indeed. Okay, so which insurance broker would you recommend? I don't want to recommend an insurance broker. I want to be very careful about that. And as you know, I was going to be starting some sort of TNT Choices business to recommend, but I've decided it may not be the best way to go. I'm still thinking about that. It also needs a lot of supervision. It needs a lot of business management. And at the moment, I don't have the staff to do that. So I'm just thinking about it, because when I do it, I want to make sure I do it properly and make sure we can follow up to make sure people are getting the best services available. Dam 1, bring your grandkids to Thailand. Much better than Europe for upbringing, says Chicano. Question, what is safer? Face masks or crash helmets, or perhaps both? Yes, I mean, look, every day you'll see Thai people riding around on their motorbikes with a face mask on, but without a crash helmet. And I know we can laugh at that, but I think it's much more interesting to find out why they're doing that, rather than just to laugh at them, call them muppets or monkeys or other insults. And that doesn't help. I think the answer, trying to find an answer, is much more interesting. So go and engage some of your Thai friends and ask them, why do people ride around with a face mask on but not a helmet? It's a good question, and rather than laughing about it, let's just say it's part of the glorious, complex fabric of Thailand, and let's try and find out more. And we'll just sort of finish. Stephen says 418 watching and only 138 likes. Come on, guys, smash the button. Well, guys and girls. And it's actually really, really good to get more women on the program. And I'll certainly do my best to address issues that are important to you, because for females, say, retiring in Thailand, a whole different set of issues, and we'd like to be able to address those as well. I know for whatever reason most of you out there are men, but we do welcome all the ladies, and please feel free, ask questions. Really happy to have you on the programs. 2 more, then we've got to go. I've got things to do. Mac B says, wow, Tim, I've been in Thailand as a retiree for 90 days now, and that's the best expat advice I've ever heard anyone give. Great job. Thank you very much. I hope I can use my 12 years of experience, my many mistakes, one big 5-year mistake that I don't wish on anybody, but I really hope I can use my experiences and my mistakes to perhaps stop you from making those same mistakes and have a safe, happy and healthy retirement here in Thailand. I want to smash something, says Ian McNamee. Just calm down, Ian, calm down. And I know many Thais that cannot afford a helmet, especially in the more rural areas, says Keon Noons. Just a very quick question about that. I used to work at a place called the Phuket News. That's when I first came to Thailand. And every year we had a program to give 1,000 free crash helmets. And we'd have them all lined up, and the police would turn up for the selfies, and the locals would be queuing up to get their free crash helmet, bike helmet. And they weren't a particularly good bike helmet, but they weren't that bad. They were sort of the plastic ones, and they weren't bad. And they were free. So they'd all line up, and then they'd get the picture with the policeman, and we'd publish some of them on our social media, and they'd say, thank you very much, take the helmet off, put it in the basket, and ride off on their bike. Anyway, that was always quite humorous. My partner wears it gardening alone. She wears it for dust, pollution, and stop getting brown, mostly the latter. What, the bike helmet or the face mask? And question, auction news. Okay, so I've passed the spreadsheet of all the auction, the people who were bidding for these. So the auction has been completed. I've handed the spreadsheet to Sam. Sam's headed to Bangkok on Thursday. She's got the spreadsheet, so she will be in contact. So for all those people that bid, Sam will be contacting you hopefully within the next few days. I wasn't aware that she was going to Bangkok, but I think she'll be on top of that Monday and Tuesday. We also acknowledge that some of you have told us that you want to pick them up here in Thailand. Scott D, you're one of them. Mango Sticky Rice, I think you wanted yours to be picked up. So we'll make sure we make that available for everybody. We did. I can tell you that we raised 159,000 baht. I think that's the final number of the winning bids. So that 159,000 baht, all of it, will go to Seeds of Change. When we've got everybody paid and all the elephants sent out, we'll make sure that we do some information, some publicity about that. I'm also going to have a signed photo of me with your elephant. I've taken a photo with every single one of the elephants and the keychains and the whole thing, and I'll sign those for you so that you'll have that as a bit of a memento as well. If you don't want a picture of me signed, you screw it up and throw it in the bin. There we go. Helmets might be about affordability, and that makes sense. Thai-made helmets are 10 times the price in Australia. Look, whatever you put on your head, be it plastic or something slightly better, whether it's been made, anything that's sitting on your head if you're on a motorbike is going to be better than falling off and hitting your head on the ground. Make sure, if you are an expat, if you're a tourist, that you wear a bike helmet. Not just because it's law. I know that many of the Thais don't do it, but it's your safety. I don't care how expensive your hairstyle is, put a helmet on and don't be silly. That's the 64-year-old Tim coming out. About $4,500, says Chicano. Yeah, it's really great, and I'm so grateful for the generosity of all those people that bid. And yeah, hopefully you'll have a bit of fun with my old shirts and some of these beautiful little toy elephants that were made by Seeds of Change. And they're all got a label on the bottom there, you see. Can you read that? So anyway, that's it for today's show. Thank you very, very much. Thug Life says don't ride motorbikes. And yes, if you don't want to fall off a motorbike, the best thing you can do is not get on one in the first place. And 159 baht from Frank in Thailand. I get what you've done there, Frank. Thank you very much. He says congratulations. But look, I'm not going to tell people to... I ride a motorbike. I ride a motorbike every day just to do short trips. I still put my helmet on, and I recommend you do too. But if you don't want to have a motorbike accident, yeah, the best thing you can do, don't get on a motorbike in the first place. That's it. Thank you very much. I hope you have fantastic... There's Dina. Come and say hello. Oh, she's going that way. Anyway, there she was. So there was a cat. I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll talk about things. We'll chat about the things that interest you. We'll pass on your comments. And I'll try and do my best to bring you up to date with everything that's happening around Thailand. And if you've got questions, all you need to do is ask. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic Saturday, or maybe a Friday night where you are, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Oh, please subscribe while you're there on the way out. No, I've got to press this, and we say goodbye. See you later.